The Level 1 Detective. Chapter 3, The Guild of Liars. Scene 1, The Funeral of a God. They say you can tell a lot about a man by his friends, but you can tell everything about him by his funeral. And Sun King's funeral was the most expensive lie Ren had ever seen. The transition from the muddy reality of Riverwood to the high-altitude server of the Solar Citadel was seamless, a testament to the sheer processing power dedicated to the elite. The white void of the loading screen faded, replaced instantly by blinding gold. Ren blinked, his eyes adjusting to the HDR brightness. He wasn't in the slums anymore. He was standing on a floating island, suspended miles above the game world. Below him, the clouds formed a vast, white ocean, an impenetrable floor that separated the gods from the monsters. Above him, the sky was a deep, royal purple, studded with stars that didn't twinkle. They watched. This was the Solar Citadel, the headquarters of the Solar Dynasty Guild. It was a fortress built of light and marble, held aloft by magic and arrogance. Ren looked down at his hands. He was still V1. Still a level 1 vagrant in brown rags that fluttered pathetically in the high-altitude wind. But the Wonderland Token in his inventory was pulsing with a warm, rhythmic heat. It had bypassed the level restrictions. To the server, he wasn't a beggar. He was a guest of honor. Psst. V1. Over here. Before the guards see you. Ren turned. Glitchenderskid was crouching behind a massive marble pillar, trying to make himself small. The halfling rogue looked terrified. His stealth cloak was shimmering, struggling to blend in with the high-fidelity ray-trace textures of this zone. The kid looked like a smudge of dirt on a pristine painting. Ren walked over calmly, his bare feet making no sound on the polished stone. Relax, kid. We're not trespassing. We're mourning. Mourning? Glitchenderskid hissed, his eyes darting around the plaza. Look at this place. This is the Lion's Denver. Every player here is level 90 or higher. If they sneeze, we die. Why did the token bring us here? Because the crime scene wasn't just the tavern, Ren said, looking past the pillar. It was his life. He looked out at the main plaza. It was crowded. Thousands of players stood in rigid formation, a sea of gold and white tabards. Their armor shone like mirrors, reflecting the artificial sun. In the center of the plaza, a massive pyre had been erected. But there was no body. Instead, a holographic projection of Sun King, 50 feet tall, hovered over the flames, smiling benevolently at his subjects. A low, resonant hum of magical energy filled the air, overlaid with a majestic, sorrowful choir singing in Latin. A bell tolled, dong dong, shaking the very foundations of the island. It's a performance, Ren thought, watching the crowd. Look at them. They aren't sad. They're bored. They're checking their stats. They're whispering about who gets the loot. It's a corporate merger disguised as a tragedy. Ren stepped out from behind the pillar. Wait, what are you doing? Glitchenderskid whispered frantically. I'm going to pay my respects, Ren said. He walked down the central aisle. His rags fluttered in the wind, a stark contrast to the heavy plate and silk robes around him. His bare, pixelated feet slapped against the polished gold floor. Slap, slap, slap. The sound was pathetic, but it cut through the choir music like a knife. Heads turned. High-level players, paladins with wings of light, archmages with orbiting runestones, berserkers with axes bigger than Ren, looked at him with a mixture of confusion and disgust. Who is that? Someone whispered. A vagrant. How did a noob get up here? Is this a grieving NPC? Part of the event. A guard stepped forward, blocking Ren's path. A level 95 sentinel in full plate armor, raising a halberd that crackled with blue lightning. Halt! The guard boomed, his voice amplified by his helmet. This area is restricted to guild officers and allies. State your business, vagrant. Ren didn't stop. He didn't flinch. He channeled every ounce of his detective persona, the weariness, the authority, the absolute lack of patience for bureaucracy. I'm here to return something he dropped, Ren said. He held up the Wonderland Token. He didn't show it to the guard. He held it up to the system. The blue plastic coin caught the light of the virtual sun, glinting innocently. System check. Item ID recognized. Authorization. Founder's privilege. The guard's helmet visor flashed green. The aggression routine in his AI was instantly overwritten by a hospitality protocol. He lowered his weapon and bowed stiffly. Apologies, honored guest. Please, proceed to the dais. The crowd gasped. A ripple of whispers spread through the ranks like a virus. Honored guest? Who is he? Is he a hidden GM? Maybe he's Sun King's alt account? Ren walked past the guard without a word. Glitchinder, seizing the opportunity, slipped into Ren's shadow, mimicking his walk but keeping his head down, trying to look like a servant. They approached the dais. Standing there, in front of the holographic pyre, were the officers. The inner circle. The suspects. There were 3 of them. To the left stood Ironwall, a massive Orc Tank. He stood with his arms crossed, looking like a boulder that had learned to frown. His armor was thick, scarred, and functional, lacking the decorative filigree of the others. He didn't look bored, he looked angry. To the right was Viper, a human assassin cloaked in shadows that seemed to smoke. He was playing with a coin, flipping it over his knuckles with a restless, predatory rhythm. His face was hidden behind a mask, but his posture screamed impatience. And in the center stood Seraphina, the High Priestess. She was beautiful in the way a thunderstorm is beautiful. Her robes were woven from white light, and wings of energy floated behind her back. She was crying. Crystal tears fell from her eyes and turned into diamonds when they hit the floor. Particle effect tears, Ren noted. Expensive cosmetic. She's putting on a show. She's the director of this little play. Ren stopped at the foot of the dais. We gather today to mourn the sun that has set. Seraphina's voice boomed, amplified by magic to echo across the heavens. Sun King was our light, our leader, our brother. She looked down at Ren. Her eyes narrowed slightly, breaking the character of the grieving widow for a split second. And who is this humble soul who comes to grieve with us? She asked softly, her voice still projected to the crowd. I'm V1, Ren said. I'm the one who found him. The silence that followed was heavy. Heavier than the armor around them. Even the wind seemed to stop. Seraphina floated down from the dais, landing softly in front of Ren. Up close, she smelled of digital lilies and ozone. You found him? She asked, her voice tight. In the tavern? I found him, Ren said. And I found what he was holding. Ren opened his hand, revealing the token again. Seraphina stared at the blue coin. Her expression didn't change. Her avatar was too high quality for accidental glitches, but the wings on her back flickered. A spike in her user's heart rate monitor translating into the game. A trinket, she said, dismissing it. Sun King loved his toys. Thank you for returning it, traveler. We will safeguard it in the guild vault. She reached out a glowing hand to take it. Ren pulled his hand back. No, he didn't drop it. He gave it to me. Seraphina smiled, but her eyes were cold. Gave it to you? A level 1 vagrant? Why would the king give his token to a beggar? Maybe because he knew the beggar wouldn't sell it, Ren said evenly. Or hide it. Or delete it. He looked past her at the other 2 officers. Ironwall was watching with intense scrutiny. Viper had stopped flipping his coin. He gave me a message too, Ren said, raising his voice so the crowd could hear. The players leaned in. This was unscripted drama. This was content. Live streams were being started. A message? Seraphina asked. He said, truth cannot respawn. Seraphina flinched. It was subtle, a micro-expression of shock that the game engine captured perfectly. Enough of this, Viper stepped forward, his voice dry as dead leaves. This is a funeral, not a quest board. Guard, remove this trash. Ren turned to the assassin. Trash? Is that what you called him when you locked him in that tavern? Or did you call him boss, right up until the moment his brain cooked? Viper stopped. His hand went to the hilt of his dagger. You have a loose tongue, old man. In the Badlands, loose tongues get cut out. We're not in the Badlands, Ren said, holding his ground. We're in the Citadel. And unless you want to murder a guest in front of 3,000 witnesses, I suggest you let me finish. Ren turned back to the holographic pyre. He walked up the steps, standing between the officers. He looked small, dirty, and absolutely commanding. Sun King didn't die of a glitch, Ren announced to the crowd. And he didn't die of a mistake. He was murdered. And the weapon that killed him, it came from inside the house. The crowd erupted. The chat logs scrolled furiously. Murdered? Inside the guild? Is he saying one of the officers did it? Check the forums. The tavern got deleted yesterday. Seraphina raised her staff. A wave of calming light washed over the plaza, a mass silence spell that dampened the noise. This is blasphemy, she cried, her voice trembling with suppressed rage. Sun King died a hero, fighting a system error to save the server. Do not tarnish his memory with your conspiracy theories. Then let me investigate, Ren challenged her. He looked at Seraphina directly. If I'm wrong, I'm just a crazy beggar and you can delete me later. But if I'm right, don't you want to know who killed your king? Or are you afraid of what I'll find? Ren was gambling. He was betting that they didn't trust each other. If it was a conspiracy, it wasn't a unanimous one. Someone was guilty. Someone was complicit. And someone was oblivious. Ironwall the orc stepped forward. He pushed Viper aside with a massive green arm. "Let him look," Ironwall rumbled, his voice like grinding stones. "Ironwall," Seraphina snapped. "He is an outsider. He has the token." Ironwall pointed a thick finger at Ren's hand. "Only the king had the token. If the king gave it to him, he has the right. Besides, I want to know. I want to know why the logs from that night were wiped." Ren smiled internally. "Gotcha. A crack in the armor." "This is foolishness," Viper hissed. "He is a level 1. What can he do?" "I can see things you ignore," Ren said. He walked up to the hologram of Sun King and touched the pedestal. "You all think this is a game," Ren addressed the crowd again. "You think if you die you just wake up. But Sun King didn't wake up. And unless you want to be next, you'll let me do my job." He turned back to the officers. "I am invoking the right of inquisition. It's an old guild rule. Pre-patch. Any member holding the founder's token can demand an audit." Seraphina paled. She knew the rule. It was deep lore, something only the original players knew. "You aren't a member," she said weakly. Ren tossed the token in the air and caught it. "I am now. Sun King invited me." Ironwall laughed. A booming, honest sound. "He's got you there, priestess. The rules are the rules." Ironwall turned to the crowd and roared, "Funeral is over. Clear the area. The king has business." The guards began to herd the confused players away. The plaza emptied slowly, leaving only Ren, Glitch_Kid, and the 3 officers standing in the wind. The silence returned. But this time it wasn't mournful. It was dangerous. Seraphina's tears were gone. Her face was a mask of ice. "Fine. You have your audit, vagrant. But be warned. The Citadel has many high places. It is very easy to fall." "I'm used to the gutter, lady," Ren said. "I can't fall any lower." "We will give you access to the guild archives," Viper said, his hand still near his dagger. "But you have 24 hours. After that, if you haven't found your murderer, I will hunt you down myself. And I will camp your spawn point until you quit the game forever." 24 hours is plenty," Ren said. Glitch_Kid tugged on Ren's sleeve. 24 hours? He whispered. "Are you crazy? It takes a week to index a guild this size." "I don't need to index it," Ren whispered back. "I just need to see who panics first." He turned to the officers. "I want to see Sun King's private quarters. Now." "Impossible," Seraphina said immediately. "It's locked. Only he had the key." Ren held up the token. "I think I have the key." Seraphina stared at the token. She looked trapped. "Very well," she spat. "Ironwall, escort them. Viper, keep an eye on the perimeter." She turned and floated away toward the main keep, her wings trailing stardust. Viper vanished into stealth without a word. Ironwall loomed over Ren. "You better be real, little man," the orc growled. "Because I loved him. And if you're playing games with his ghost, I'll crush you." "I don't play games, Ironwall," Ren said, meeting the giant's gaze. "I solve them." Ren signaled Glitch_Kid. They followed the massive orc toward the keep. As they walked, Ren looked up at the purple sky. The stars were still watching. One of them killed him, Ren thought. Seraphina is the face. Viper is the knife. Ironwall is the muscle. But which one is the traitor? Or is it all of them? The game had started. And he was the only one who knew the rules were broken. The corridors of the Solar Citadel were not built for walking. They were built for processing. Wide, high-ceilinged, and devoid of personality, they were designed to accommodate the oversized avatars of high-level players and their vanity pets. Ren walked in the center of the hallway, his bare feet making a soft, rhythmic slapping sound against the pristine gold-veined floor. To his right, Glitch_Kid scurried nervously, checking the shimmer of his stealth cloak every few seconds. To his left loomed Ironwall. The Orc Tank was massive. In the game engine he stood nearly 8 feet tall. His armor, the bulwark of the Titans, was a slab of enchanted steel so thick it seemed to distort the air around it with its gravitational weight. Every time he moved, servos whined and plates clattered with the sound of a closing prison gate. "You walk with confidence for a man with 50 hit points, vagrant," Ironwall rumbled, his voice like distant thunder. "Hit points don't matter in a safe zone, Ironwall," Ren said, not looking up. "Unless you plan to flag yourself as a murderer inside your own guild hall?" "I don't need to kill you to stop you," the orc grunted. "I could sit on you. The system would register it as environmental damage." True, Ren admitted. But then you'd never know why your king died holding a toy coin instead of his sword. Ironwall made a noise of frustration but said nothing more. He stopped in front of a massive set of double doors carved from white oak and inlaid with pearl. There were no keyholes, no handles, just a complex array of magical sigils glowing softly in the air. This is the sanctum, Ironwall said. Sun King's private quarters. No one has entered since the incident. Not even Seraphina? The priestess has access, Ironwall hesitated. But the logs show no entry. The door requires a biometric handshake, retinal scan and voice print. Or a token, Ren said. He stepped forward and held up the Wonderland Token. The magical sigils flared red, sensing an intrusion. A warning flashed in Ren's peripheral vision. Access restricted. Ren didn't panic. He held the token closer to the central rune. Game logic is absolute, he thought. But developer logic overrides game logic. If this token is a key item linked to the architect, it shares the same root code as the founder's privileges. The red light flickered. It turned amber. Then, slowly, reluctantly, it washed into a cool green. Access granted, guest protocol. The heavy doors swung inward with a sigh of displaced air. No way, Glitchunder's whispered. You just key smashed a guild leader's door with a plastic coin. After you, gentlemen, Ren said. They stepped inside. Ren expected luxury. He expected a throne room, piles of loot, statues of gold. What he found was a workshop. The room was vast, with a balcony overlooking the cloud sea, but the walls were lined not with treasures but with white bards. Holographic schematics floated in the air, displaying maps of game zones, raid boss mechanics and economy charts. The floor was littered with crumpled digital paper, notes Sun King had written and discarded. In the center of the room was a modest desk. On it sat a half-finished potion, a crafting kit, and a single framed picture of the guild. He wasn't living like a king, Ren said, walking to the desk. He was living like a manager. He worked hard, Ironwall said softly, staying by the door. He wanted the dynasty to be the best. He spent 18 hours a day in here, optimizing routes, calculating drop rates. He carried the server on his back. Ren picked up the potion bottle. It was a high-quality stamina elixir. He was tired, Ironwall. Look at this. He was brewing his own energy drinks. What? He had millions of gold. He could buy thousands. He didn't trust the market, Ironwall replied. He said the consumables were tainted. Tainted? Ren put the bottle down. He looked at the white bards. They were covered in frantic scribbles. Arrows pointing to different zones. Calculations of server latency. One phrase was circled in red, repeated over and over in the corner of the board. Where does the data go? Glitch, scan the room, Ren ordered. Look for hidden containers. False walls. On it. Ren turned to Ironwall. The orc was looking at the framed picture on the desk. In the photo, Sun King, Seraphina, Viper, and Ironwall were standing over the corpse of a dragon, laughing. They looked younger. Happier. Ironwall, Ren said. I need you to be honest with me. When was the last time you spoke to him? 3 days ago. Before he went to Riverwood. Did he tell you why he was going to a starter town? No. He said he had to check the foundation. I thought he meant the guild bank. Or the castle recruits. He meant the game's foundation, Ren said. The code. He walked over to the balcony doors. They were locked, but he could see through the glass. The clouds outside were swirling in a pattern that looked almost artificial, like a texture repeating too quickly. Sun King suspected something, Ren realized. He knew about the upload. He knew about Sector 9. And he was trying to prove it. I found something. Glitch_Kid called out. Ren and Ironwall turned. The halfling was crouching by the fireplace, having pulled a loose stone from the hearth. It's a lockbox. Analog style. No digital interface. You need a physical key. Ren walked over. The lockbox was a simple iron chest with a cylindrical keyhole. He pulled out the token. Turning it on its side, he noted the ridges on the edge. He slotted the plastic coin into the iron keyhole. Click. The lid popped open. Inside there was no gold. No legendary weapons. There was a book. A physical book, bound in leather. In a digital world, paper was the ultimate luxury. And the ultimate security. A book cannot be hacked remotely, it has to be read. Ren picked it up. Item, Sun King's journal. He opened it. The pages were filled with handwriting. He trusted you, Ironwall, Ren said, scanning the last entry. What does it say? The orc asked, his voice tightening. He said you were loyal. Too loyal. Ren handed the book to the orc. Read the last page. Ironwall took the book with his massive, gauntlet hands. He read. As he did, the air in the room seemed to grow heavy. They aren't NPCs, the journal read. I talked to the blacksmith in Riverwood today. I asked him about his daughter. He cried. He remembered things that aren't in his script. The AI is evolving. Or, it's remembering. Seraphina knows. I saw her in the server room. She was talking to the architect. She called him father. Viper is suspicious, but he's just a mercenary. Ironwall is too loyal to the game. He won't believe me until I show him the bodies. Ironwall's hands began to shake. Seraphina? She was talking to the architect? The architect, Ren confirmed. The entity running Sector 9. The one who built the carousel. She told us. Ironwall crushed the edge of the book. She told us Sun King was losing his mind. She said he was burning out. She said we needed to take control of the guild to save it from him. She lied, Ren said. She was gaslighting him. And she used you to isolate him. A low growl rose in Ironwall's throat. I guarded the door while she had meetings with him. I thought she was healing him. She wasn't healing him. She was rewriting him. Or trying to. When that failed, they lured him to Riverwood and deleted him. Ironwall roared, a sound of pure, raw betrayal. He slammed his fist into the wall. Boom. The wall cracked and the holographic schematics flickered and died. I will tear her wings off. No. Not yet. Ren stepped in front of the orc. What? She killed him. She is working with the thing that killed him. Because she is the face, Ren explained urgently. If you attack her now, the entire guild will turn on you. You'll be the traitor who killed the priestess in a fit of rage. That's probably her backup plan. He tapped the book. This is evidence. But it's not enough. We need to know what she is planning. The journal mentions a grand ascension. An event scheduled for tomorrow. The solstice event, Ironwall realized. It's a server-wide raid. All the top guilds are gathering in the central plaza. That's the trap. Whatever Project Noah is, she's going to trigger it during the event. When everyone is logged in. When the server load is at its peak. Guys? Glitch_kid called out from the window. We have a problem. Ren looked. Outside the balcony, the sky was darkening. The purple clouds were swirling into a funnel. Standing on the balcony railing looking in through the glass was Viper. The assassin was crouching, his daggers drawn. His mask was gone, revealing a face that was a void of black smoke. Touching sentiments, Viper's voice was muffled by the glass. But the audit is over. Ironwall. Ren shouted. Viper shattered the glass. He moved like smoke. He didn't aim for Ren. He aimed for the book in Ironwall's hand. Viper's dagger, a Shadowfang blade capable of phasing through armor, cut through the air. Ironwall reacted with surprising speed for a tank, raising his forearm. Clang. The dagger sparked against the bracer. Viper. You traitorous rat. I am not a traitor, Viper laughed. I am an employee. And my contract has been renewed by the new management. Viper flipped backward, landing on the desk. He kicked the potion bottle at Ren. Ren dodged as the bottle smashed on the floor, hissing acid fumes rising into the air. He's trying to zone us. Ren yelled. Glitch the door. Glitch_kid ran for the main door. It's locked. Seraphina sealed us in from the outside. Did you think we would let you leave with the king's diary? Viper sneered. Seraphina knew you would find it. She wanted you to find it. It makes your accidental death much more tragic. Grief-stricken vagrant and confused orc kill each other over loot. He's stalling, Ren told Ironwall. He's waiting for the guards. Ironwall looked at Viper, then at Ren. Vagrant, can you fight? I'm level 1. I can die very dramatically. Good enough. Distract him. I will break the door. Distract the level 95 assassin? Sure. No problem. Ren looked around the room for a weapon. He saw the quill pen on the desk. He grabbed it. Item equipped. Quill pen. Damage, 1. Hey Viper. Ren shouted. The pen is mightier than the sword. Viper turned his smoky gaze toward Ren. Pathetic. Viper lunged. Ren didn't attack. He threw the quill. It missed Viper completely. Instead, it hit the shelf behind him, knocking over a jar of glow dust. The jar shattered, and a cloud of glittery, luminescent dust puffed into the air. Viper moved through it, and the dust stuck to him, outlining his form. Glitch. Now. He's marked. Ren yelled. Glitch Understood popped out of stealth from under the desk and threw a flashbang. Bang. The white light reflected off the glow dust clinging to Viper's invisible form. For a second the assassin was blinded. Ironwall charged at the main door. He didn't use a key. He used his shoulder. Titan charge. Boom. The white oak doors didn't open. They exploded. Splinters the size of spears flew into the hallway. Move. Ironwall grabbed Ren and Glitch Underskirt, tucking one under each massive arm like footballs, and ran. Viper recovered, shrieking in rage. He threw a dagger. It embedded itself deep in Ironwall's backplate, but the orc didn't even slow down. They burst into the hallway where guards were already running toward them. Make way for the king's justice. Ironwall roared, barreling through the guards and knocking them aside like bowling pins. He didn't stop until they reached the edge of the floating island, the Griffin Roost. Winged beasts waited there for riders. Take the blue one, Ironwall said, setting them down. It's fast. What about you? Ren asked. I'm staying. I need to buy you time. And I need to have a conversation with Viper. Ren looked at the orc. He saw the blood leaking from the dagger wound in his back. You'll die. Ironwall grinned, showing his tusks. I'm a tank, little man. Dying slowly is my job. He handed the journal to Ren. Take this to the public. Post it on the forums. Broadcast it to the world. Make sure they know. I will, Ren promised. Ren and Glitch Underskirt climbed onto the griffin. It squawked, unhappy with the weight. How do you fly this thing? Glitch Underskirt screamed. Pull the reins and scream. Ren kicked the beast's flanks. The griffin leaped off the edge of the citadel. They fell into the clouds. Behind them on the platform, Ironwall drew his massive shield. Viper emerged from the hallway, surrounded by a dozen guards. For the Sun King. The clash of steel echoed across the sky as Ren dived into the white ocean of clouds below. We have the proof, Ren thought as the wind tore at his clothes. We have the motive. But we're falling out of the sky with no parachute plan, and the most powerful guild in the game just declared war on us. Just another Tuesday. Falling is not the problem. It's the landing that usually ruins your day. But in a world made of math, falling is just a variable of acceleration against a localized gravity constant. Ren clung to the neck of the blue griffin, his fingers burying themselves in feathers that felt like cold silk. The beast was shrieking, a digital audio file looping in panic, as it plummeted from the Solar Citadel. Above them, the floating island was shrinking, a golden coin tossed into a sea of white clouds. Below, the ground was rushing up to meet them with the indifference of a wall. Pull up. Glitchner screamed, his voice distorting over the wind. The halfling was clinging to Ren's waist, his small avatar vibrating with terror. V1. Pull the reins. We're going to hit the kill box. I'm trying. Ren roared back. He yanked on the leather reins. The griffin ignored him. Why wouldn't it? Ren was a level 1 vagrant. His animal handling skill was non-existent. To the beast's AI, Ren was nothing more than a piece of luggage that had accidentally fallen onto its back. System alert, mount control failed. Reason, insufficient level. The ground broke through the cloud layer. It wasn't the green fields of Riverwood or the neon streets of the capital. It was a coastline of jagged gray rocks and churning black water. The waves crashed against the shore with a violence that shook the screen. Ren looked at the beast's head. He couldn't control it with stats. He had to control it with logic. Listen to me, you glorified chicken. Ren shouted into the griffin's ear, ignoring the game interface. If we hit that water at this angle, your hitbox creates a splash damage radius that deletes us all. You want to live? Flare your wings. He didn't pull back. He leaned forward. He pushed the beast's neck down, forcing it into a steeper dive. What are you doing? Glitch Underskirt shrieked. Physics. Ren yelled. Velocity converts to lift. The griffin, sensing the sudden shift in weight, panicked. Its survival protocol kicked in. It snapped its massive wings open to arrest the fall. The air caught the feathers with a sound like a thunderclap. Crack. The dive leveled out instantly. They swooped, skimming just meters above the whitecaps of the dark ocean, the spray hitting Ren's face like frozen needles. The beast struggled, its stamina bar flashing red. It banked hard to the left, aiming for a stretch of sand littered with the ribs of ancient, rotting ships. System, emergency landing initiated. They hit the sand. It wasn't graceful. The griffin tucked and rolled, throwing its riders clear. Ren tumbled across the beach, his health bar chipping away with every impact. -5 HP, -2 HP, -4 HP. He came to a stop against the hull of a wrecked galleon. He lay there for a second, staring at the gray sky, listening to the sound of the ocean. It sounded looped, artificial, but comforting in its consistency. Alive, he wheezed. Still logging. He sat up. His HP was critical, 10/50ths. His rags were soaked. A few meters away, Glitch Understood pulled his head out of a pile of digital seaweed. The griffin shook itself, squawked indignantly at Ren, and then dissolved into particles of blue light, returning to Ironwall's stable. You. Glitch Understood coughed, standing up on shaky legs. You are the worst pilot I have ever seen. And I've seen NPCs fly into walls. We're on the ground, Ren said, checking his inventory. The Sun King's journal was safe. The Wonderland Token was safe. That counts as a win. Ren stood up and looked around. They were in the Shipwreck Graveyard. It was a zone Ren recognized from the old maps, but it had changed. The ships weren't just wooden ruins, they were glitching. Parts of the hulls flickered in and out of existence. A mast floated 3 feet above the deck of a schooner. The water lapping at the shore was a murky, pixelated mess of number 000000 black. This is the edge of the map, Ren said. Sector 8. Just north of the Forgotten Coast. It's a dead zone, Glitch Understood whispered, drawing his daggers. No monsters spawn here. No resources. Just lag. Ren walked over to the shelter of a massive, overturned hull. We need to debrief. We have 24 hours before Viper makes good on his threat, and before Seraphina triggers whatever hell she's planning. They sat in the shadow of the wreck. Ren pulled out the leather-bound journal. The physical weight of the book felt grounding in this unstable reality. Okay, Ren said, opening the book to the marked page. Let's see what cost a king his life. He read aloud, his voice low and gritty, competing with the sound of the glitching waves. Entry 404. The architect isn't an NPC. I tracked the IP. It's internal. It's coming from the OmniCorp mainframe, but it's partitioned. It's a ghost drive. Ren flipped the page. Seraphina calls it the Grand Ascension. She thinks it's a rapture event. She thinks the architect is going to upload our consciousness to a higher plane. A digital heaven where we never age, never die, never feel pain. She's recruiting the top players. The ones who hate the real world the most. She promises them that during the solstice event, the server will synchronize with their neural pathways. Glitch Understood hugged his knees. Upload? You mean, like permanent residence? Worse, Ren said, reading the next line. It's not an upload. It's a trap. I found the test logs in Sector 9. The subjects didn't ascend. Their brains were wiped. The architect needs processing power. He needs human minds to expand his own code. He's not building a heaven. He's building a battery. Ren closed the book. The silence between them was heavy. A battery, Glitch Understood whispered. All those players, the Solar Dynasty, they think they're going to become gods. But they're just going to become fuel. Sun King found out, Ren deduced. He tried to stop it. He went to Sector 9 to confront the architect. But Seraphina and Viper, they were already converted. They killed him to keep the secret. And they made it look like a glitch so no one would investigate. But why give the token to you? Glitch Kid asked. Why a level 1 vagrant? Ren looked at the token in his hand. The cartoon bear smiled back at him, mocking the horror of the situation. Because I'm not invested, Ren said slowly. Look at you, kid. Look at Ironwall. Look at Seraphina. You all love this world. You've poured years of your life into it. If Sun King told you the game was a slaughterhouse, would you have believed him? Or would you have thought he was crazy? Would you have wanted to believe that your paradise was a lie? Glitch Understood looked down at his high-level daggers. I don't know. I have nothing here, Ren said. I have no loot, no reputation, no guild. I see the game for what it is, a system of lights and numbers. Sun King needed an outsider. Someone who wouldn't hesitate to burn it all down if it meant saving the people inside. Ren stood up. He walked to the edge of the water. The sea stretched out before them, a flat, gray expanse leading toward a wall of thick, static fog in the distance. Sector 9. The solstice event starts tomorrow at noon, Ren said. When the server clock hits 12 o'clock, Seraphina will begin the ritual in the central plaza. Millions of players will be logged in. If the architect triggers the synchronization then, it will be the biggest mass murder in history. Glitch Understood finished, his voice trembling. What do? We can't fight the Solar Dynasty. We can't fight the architect. We're 2 players against the world. Ren turned back to the boy. The sun was setting, casting long, distorted shadows across the beach. Ren's avatar looked tired, ragged, and weak. But his eyes, the eyes of the man behind the screen, were burning with cold fire. "We don't fight them," Ren said. "We break the game." "Break it? How?" "The architect needs stability to run the upload. He needs the server to be running perfectly to synchronize millions of brains. If we introduce enough chaos, enough glitches, the system will crash. The safety protocols will kick in and force a mass logout." Ren held up the token. "This is the key to Sector 9. To Wonderland. That's where the architect's core is physically located within the game geometry. We go there. We find the source code. And we introduce a virus." "A virus?" Glitch_Kid stood up. "Where are we going to get a virus strong enough to kill a god?" Ren tapped his temple. "I am the virus, kid. A level 1 vagrant with admin privileges and a bad attitude. I am the variable he didn't account for." He looked at the fog bank in the distance. "But we can't walk there. Sector 9 is across the sea of static. We need a boat." Glitch_Kid looked around the graveyard of ships. "Everything here is broken, V1. These ships are just assets. They don't float." Ren walked over to a small, rotting rowboat half buried in the sand. It flickered, its texture file corrupted. "In a perfect world, broken things are useless," Ren said, placing his hand on the gunwale of the boat. "But in a broken world, broken things are the only ones that fit." He closed his eyes. He focused on the sensation he had felt in the elevator shaft, the feeling of the code bending to his will. The rule breaker title. System query, repair object. Required skill, carpentry, LVL 0. Chance of success, 0%. Ren ignored the prompt. He didn't use a skill. He used the logic of the detective. If the object exists, it must have a function. "Work," Ren commanded. He didn't repair the boat. He didn't fix the hole in the hull. Instead, he manipulated the buoyancy variable. Variable edit, buoyancy equals 100%. The rotting, hole-filled boat shuddered. It lifted out of the sand, hovering 6 inches above the ground. It floated on the air, defying the physics engine. Glitch_Kid's jaw dropped. You just modded the server in real time." "I told you," Ren said, climbing into the floating wreck. "I'm not playing the game anymore." He held out a hand to the boy. "Get in, Glitch. We're going to Wonderland. And we're going to turn off the lights." Glitch_Kid looked at the boat, then at Ren. The fear in his eyes was replaced by something else. A spark of reckless hope. He took Ren's hand and climbed in. "You know," Glitch_Kid grinned, "if we survive this, I'm going to have the craziest stories on the forum." "If we survive this," Ren said, looking toward the dark horizon, "there won't be a forum." Ren grabbed a piece of driftwood to use as a rudder. The floating boat drifted out over the black water, moving toward the wall of static fog. Behind them, the sun finally set, plunging the world into darkness. But in the distance, the purple lightning of Sector 9 beckoned, a lighthouse for the damned. Arian, internal monologue, Ironwall bought us time. Sun King gave us the map. Now it's up to the trash. The vagrant and the thief. We aren't heroes. We're glitches. And glitches are the one thing a system can't control. The boat vanished into the fog.